Okay, so we're going to start graphing today. This is our first assignment or even mention of graphing. I'm going to assume you've done a little bit of graphing before. When we graph, we have an x-axis and a y-axis. I feel so stupid. I should have brought some graph paper up here with me, but I don't have any. The x-axis is a horizontal number line. The y-axis is a vertical number line. This is x, y. They intersect at 0. On the x-axis, the positive numbers are to the right and negative numbers to the left, just like a normal number line. On the y-axis, positive numbers go up and negative numbers go down. Some of you future physicists might do it a different way on the y-axis. But in math, we always have the y-axis, positive numbers up, negative numbers down. On this rectangular plane here, we plot ordered pairs. Each ordered pair represents a point on the graph. And ordered pairs are always in the form x, y. Looks like one of those intervals with the interval notation we were using, but it's not. And with an ordered pair, the first number gives the left-right movement. The second number, the up-down. So if I wanted to plot the ordered pair 2, 3, to plot that ordered pair, you go to 0 right here, the intersection that's called the origin. You start there and you move right 2. Why right? Well, because it's positive. Up 3. So right 2, up 3. You can imagine graph paper with all the little lines. We'll see some in a little bit. Okay? So there's our point 2, 3. What about the point negative 2, 3? I'm going to plot 4 points. 2, 3 is the first one. Negative 2, 3 is the second point I'm plotting. Well, to plot negative 2, 3, since the first number is negative, you move left and then up. Why up? Because the number is positive. So start at the origin, left 2, up 3. That dot I just drew in the upper left-hand corner is the point negative 2, 3. The next point we'll plot is negative 2, negative 3. Well, where would that go? In terms of left, right, up, down. You start at the origin and you move left 2 and down 3. Right there. Negative 2, negative 3. And one more point. Positive 2, negative 3. Where would that be? That would be right 2, down 3. So that's the point 2, negative 3. Notice how the x-axis and the y-axis break up this region into 4 smaller regions. Each one of those regions we'll call a quadrant. And you number the quadrants like this. Quadrant 1, quadrant 2, Q for quadrant 3, quadrant 4. In quadrant 1, the ordered pairs are always of this form, plus, plus. Positive x's, positive y's. In quadrant 2, what are the ordered pairs like? It would be negative x's, positive y's. Okay. Y'all following what I'm doing with this plus, plus, and minus, plus? Quadrant 3, what would I have here? In quadrant 3, down here, negative x's and negative y's. Negative, negative. And finally, in quadrant 4, positive x's, negative y's. So that's the region we're going to be graphing on. And we're going to start off by graphing some equations. Number 1. Let's look at this. It says, give ordered pairs that are solutions and graph the equation. So this is problem number 1. These problems are a little bit shorter than the stuff we've been doing. Okay? So let me write problem number 1. 3y equals 2x minus 6. We're given an XY table that we're going to be filling in here. Okay? So, on the first row of this table, there's a 0 under the X column. A 0 under the X column. What do y'all think that's telling us to do? It says complete the ordered pairs so they are solutions to the given equation. What am I going to do with that 0? That's right. You're going to plug it in for X. You plug the 0 in for X and figure out Y. So let me show you what I've written. Okay, let me move this up a little. Ooh. Okay. You plug 0 in for X and figure out Y. So let's see. If I put a 0 in for X, I have 3y equals 2 times 0 is 0 minus 6. So 3y is a negative 2. Excuse me, negative 6. Where am I doing? Now solve for y. What am I going to get? How would I solve for y? What would I do to get rid of this 3? Did I divide? Is this where I'm getting the negative 2 I wrote a moment ago? Y equals negative 2. So in words, what did I do? I plugged the 0 in for X, solve for Y, isolate the Y, I have a negative 2. That's an ordered pair. I'm going to put the parentheses around it just because whenever I write ordered pairs, I like to have parentheses around them. You don't have to do that. But come over here to the problem now. And in the little box here, I'm going to type in negative 2. Okay, we're not finished. Now, there's another line on the table. Here, the 0 is in the Y spot. So what are they trying to tell us to do here? I'm going to do what with that 0? Plug the 0 in for Y and then figure out X. So first of all, I'll plug 0 in for X, figured out Y. Now I'm plugging 0 in for Y, figured out X. So put in a 0 in here. The 3 times 0 would just be 0 equals 2x minus 6. how would I solve this for x? Okay, I add the 6. I got to get the x by itself. So I'm moving the 6 over. And then what? Divide by 2. So we get x equals, is that going to be a 3? So 3 is what goes in that spot. And now it's going to tell us to graph this equation. Well, in order to graph this equation, you sort of got to know what sort of figure we're going to have. We have this little graphing tool that you click right here to enlarge. And then there's all these little tools here, like if you hover your mouse, there's a line tool. There's this V, if you look real, it says absolute value tool. What you're going to have to do, you know what? Let me see if I can make this a little bigger. What do I have to do to get this a little bit? Oh wait, no. Let me come over here. Pop it out. No, it's still that same size. Oh, I guess I could magnify it, but see, it won't. No, so magnifying isn't going to work. Well, can y'all see it the way it's showing it right? Hey, what about right there? Okay. Okay, so how do you decide what sort of graph this is going to be? Well, if your equation has no exponents, if there's no square roots, if there's no fractions, if there's no absolute value bars, then the graph is just going to be a line. Okay? Our equation, there's no exponents in here. There's no square root symbols or absolute value bars or fractions. It's a line. So we're going to have to choose the line tool. Let me show you how you do this. So you start over here by clicking on the line tool. And at this point, the graph is going to the yellow rectangle gives you instructions. Click the graph to plot the first point. Well, what was that first point? It's cut off. 0, -2. So 0, -2. That would be over 0, down 2. 0, -2, right there. Then, once you click it, it says, okay, click the graph to plot the second point on your line. What was the second point? It was a 3, 0. So that would mean go back to the origin, move right 3, up 0, click it, and then before you can check it, you've got to say save. It puts the graph here, and you can say check it. Okay? Any questions there? So nice little graphing tools. If there aren't any questions, we'll move on to the next one. Well, it's going to be very similar. Is it exactly the same? No. Okay. So this one's very similar to the one we just did. But just like y'all, I can't actually change the numbers. I'm on the student side of things. Maybe I should log in as a teacher to the teacher side of things so I can regenerate the numbers when I want. But no. So this is problem number 2. Is this going to be a line also? Yeah, there's no exponents or square roots or anything. So this is a line. So problem 2, 3x plus 2y equals 6. The thing that's different here is it didn't actually write the little XY table. It's just writing them as ordered pairs. It's the same thing whether you write it as an XY table or you just write the ordered pairs. On this ordered pair, what is it telling us to do? To plug a 0 in for x. If I plug a 0 in for x, what am I going to get? 3 times 0 would just be 0 plus 2y equals 6. So just 2y equals 6. When I isolate the y, what am I going to get? Y equals 3. So there's one ordered pair. Now, what's this ordered pair telling us to do? Here you plug the 0 in for y, right? If I plug the 0 in for y, we get 3x plus 2 times y is just 0 equals 6. 3x equals 6. Divide both sides by 3 to get x equals, is that a 2? So we type in the 2 right there. And now we're going to graph it. So now we're going to graph it. I'll say click to enlarge. And that shows you the tools here. Which tool are we going to choose? Yellow box sort of talks you through. Choose a tool in the palette. Well, this is, what did we say? It's a line. So we'll click line. And now it says, okay, graph or plot the first point on your line. The first point was 0, 3. So what would that mean? Over 0, up 3. And then, now it says plot the second point. You'll notice it should say the point that you're on up here in the upper right hand on that yellow rectangle. Let's see, so what's our second point? Right 2 up 0. Am I right 2 up 0? Look in the upper right hand corner of the yellow rectangle. Yep. Then I say save it. And now I've got to check it. I'll just hit enter. Oh, wait, no. Save and enter. Oh. Oh, duh. And how to make a good impression. Okay? Any questions there? These are some nice little graphing tools they have here. In my old videos, I couldn't actually show how to use those graphing tools like this. This looks really good. Oh, hey, here's number 3. Is this going to be a line? Say no. No. How do I know? Because of that exponent. So let me blow it up. Just make it a little bit bigger. Now I'll have to decrease it. So here's problem number 3. Y equals x squared minus 4. And that gives us the table write-offs. It looks like there's 3 rows on the table, the XY table. And the numbers are -2, -0, and positive 2. So they're telling us which numbers to plug in for x. -2, 0, and 2. Well, okay. Maybe we can do some of these without even writing anything down. If we plug a -2 in for x, we're trying to find y. -2 times -2 is 4. Minus 4, what number am I going to put right here? 0. Okay? -2 times -2 is 4. Minus 4 is 0. There's my first ordered pair. On this one, you have to type in all 3 numbers before it'll let you check it. Then, plugging a 0 in for x. 0 squared is 0. Minus 4. Is that a -4? Do y'all see how I'm getting these numbers? And finally, plug in a 2 in for x. 2 squared is 4. Minus 4 is that another 0 there? Yeah. So I'm going to plot -2, 0, 0, negative. Well, wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm going to first punch in those numbers and make sure I have the right answer. But it does say that we're going to be a 0, then a -4, and another 0. At that point, I can check my answer. And now, I will graph it. Click to enlarge. Oh, wait. All we know is that it's not a line, is it? Okay. It's not a line. Let's see the next tool. Absolute value tool. Well, are there any absolute values anywhere here? No, so I'm guessing it's not an absolute value. Let's come right here and look at this tool. And y'all, it's sort of hard to see that little writing. If you hover the mouse over, it gives you a name. It says 3-point quadratic. Huh. Quadratic means x squared. Do we have 3 points? Yeah. So this one here on number 3, you're going to use the 3-point quadratic tool. Right there, I'll say. Click there, and it says now click the graph to plot the first point of your curve. So I'm plotting -2, 0. Am I at -2, 0? Well, I'll look at the upper right-hand corner of the yellow rectangle, and yes, I am. So I'll click there. Now click the graph to plot the second point of the curve. Well, where would that be? 0, -4. Am I at 0, -4? That was the second point. And now it says, click the graph to plot the last point of your curve. 2, 0. Okay. Am I at 2, 0? Yeah. Then I say, save it, and check it. Okay. Any questions there? So if you hover your mouse over the little tools, that'll sort of help you figure out if you're on which tool you're going to use. How did I know it's not a line tool? Well, there's an exponent. Lines can't have exponents. That's number 4. Oh, number 4 is a multiple choice one. It just says graph the equation. This is what it used to be like way back before, if you look back at my math lab 10 years ago, everything was multiple choice, or a little over 10. Right? I think But this one's still multiple choice. In fact, if you looked at your review that's posted under document sharing, let me see. Oh, where's that review document? Review 1. If you look at the last problem, very much like, oh, maybe I need to make it bigger. See, this one's very much like the one we're about to do. Okay? But back to the one we are. Let me see. So let me write this one down, and then we'll discuss how the heck we're going to graph it. So this is problem number 4. Y equals the square root of x minus 1. Y equals the square root of x minus 1. Well, notice it doesn't give you any numbers to plug in. That's going to be up to you. You're going to have to, I'm going to draw a little XY table. Oh, lift it up too high. I'm going to draw an XY table, and then we have to decide on numbers to plug in. Now, when we're graphing X and Y on that X-axis and Y-axis, there's only real numbers on here. Okay, on the number line, there's only real numbers, none of those imaginary numbers. So, it's up to you to decide what numbers to plug in. Let me ask you a question. Could I plug a 0 in? If I plug a 0 in for X, I have 0 minus 1. Let's see what my calculator says. If I plug a 0 in for X, that's a square root of 0 minus 1. It says 0 minus X. I meant 0 minus 1. What's going to happen there? Well, 0 minus 1 is negative 1. What's the square root of negative 1? It's I, an imaginary number. So we can't put a 0 in. Okay? There are no imaginary numbers on the XY axis. Okay, well, let's try another one. What about 1? Could I put a 1 in? If I plug a 1 in for X, am I getting a real number or an imaginary number? Let's see. Let's try that. 1 minus 1 is 0. What's the square root of 0? Is it a real number or an imaginary number? Well, it's a real number. 0 times 0 is 0. So we have, there's one ordered pair. Okay. Let's choose another number. Just keep on going. What numbers, like, could I put negative numbers in for X? Well, no, I can't put a negative number in for X, because if I did, I'd get one of those imaginary numbers. So I could put a 2. What if I put a 2 in for X? What would that give me for Y? I bet this is one you can do in your head without a calculator. 2 minus 1 is 1. What's the square root of 1? 1. The square root of 1 is 1. And I think I'll find one more of these. Let's see, if I put a 3 in for X, am I going to get a whole number or will it be a decimal? If I put a 3 here, 3 minus 1, that would give me a decimal number, square root of 2. Well, what about 4? 4 minus 1, that's a whole number. No, that's a decimal. 4 minus 1 is 3. The square root of 3 is a decimal number. What if I put a 5 in? The 5 minus 1 would give me a perfect square under there. The square root of 4, what number am I going to write right here? 2. So, remember, this is multiple choice, this problem. We've probably found more ordered pairs than we need. Look at these ordered pairs and see, these graphs, and see which graph has those ordered pairs. Like right here. Oh, let's not start with that one. Let's start with this one. Looking at how it's scaled, if it goes negative 10 to 10, is each of these little squares 2, 4, 6, 8, 10? So what were those ordered pairs? Right 1, up 0. The first ordered pair I had listed there, right 1, up 0. See, I'm looking to see which graph has these ordered pairs. It's not, as I'm talking about it, you can look through them and decide. It's not this one. Right 1, up 0 would be right here where the arrow is. So it's not B. What about C? Hey, right 1, up 0. That looks like it, right? Right 1, up 0. Remember, each little mark is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So right 1, up 0. What about right 2, up 1? Does this one have right 2, up 1? I'm thinking no. Because right out here where my cursor is, where the little arrow is, isn't that where right 2, up 1 is? If each mark is 2? So it's not that one. Let's see. This one, the right 1, up 0, it has it. What about right 2, up 1? Right 2, up 1. It's not D. You might begin to wonder, why did I skip A and not look at it first? Like, look at the third point, the 5, 2, 2, 4. Here's 5, up 2. It's definitely not these. So you just got to plot enough points till you can figure out which one has those points. I'm thinking it is this one. Here's right 1, up 0. Look at where the arrow is. Is this point right here, right 2, up 1? What was that other one? Right 5, up 2, 1, 2. Right 5, up 2. Yeah. Okay. So you're just looking at the graphs and figuring out which one have those points. I'm thinking it is that one. Any questions there? Yes. Now, problem number 5. Hey, do y'all want to guess what tool we're going to... We're done with the multiple choice. Do y'all want to guess what tool we're going to use here? Yeah, the one that has absolute value in its name. This is actually the trickiest of all the tools. Absolute value of x minus 10. They're making make an XY table. And the first number we're told is to plug a negative 4 in for x. So I'm putting a negative 4 in for x. Putting a negative 4 in for x. Negative 4 minus 10 is negative 15, but don't type negative 15 in for y. You have to take the absolute value. The absolute value of negative 15 would be positive 15. So there's my first ordered pair. Type of 15 in there. Negative 14. Where the heck did I get negative 15? Negative 4 minus 10? Oh, wow. Okay, I'll put an X through it. You know what? I'm going to X it all out. Where the heck? That's funny. So I'm putting in negative 4. And this time don't help me, although you've already helped me. Let me see if I can do it right. The absolute value of negative 4 minus 10 is negative 14. I don't know where I got 15. The absolute value of negative 14 is positive 14. So let me see if I can punch it. Oh, there. I think I did it right this time. Okay. Let's see. Here, just 14. Now the next one. You're plugging a 10 in for x. Oh, don't help me on this one. I think I can do it. Y equals the 10 minus 10 would just be 0. The there. Okay, so I'm plugging a 10 in for x. The 10 minus 10 is 0. The absolute value of 0 is 0. Okay. So how many of these are we going to have to do? It is 0. And now a positive 14. So the table's not finished yet. Let's put a positive 14 in for x. Let's see, what would we have? 14 minus 10 is a 4. The absolute value of 4 is 4. Oh. There I am, writing and writing. Okay, so I'm plugging a 14 in for x. 14 minus 10 is 4. The absolute value of 4 is 4. So I take the three numbers they gave us and plug it in for x. What was this last number here? 4. Check the answer. And now we're going to use the tools. And this is an easy one to decide with. It says it has absolute value bars, so you're going to choose that. But this is the trickiest one. If you're only going to do one homework problem today and all the rest the night before, well, if you're going to do 2, do those absolute value cut point, the quadratic ones, like 11 and 12, before you forget how to do it, the equal positive, equal negative, and do this problem number 5 here. Number 5, the tool is tricky. When you click here, click the graph. It doesn't say plot the first point. It says plot the vertex. Well, this little picture here shows you what the graph is going to look like. If you think of that as just an angle, and you think, okay, what was that word vertex was from a geometry class? It's this little point here in the middle. So it's not saying plot the first point. It's saying plot the middle point. The 10, 0. If you don't plot that middle point first, you're going to mess up. Come over here and let me make a note of this. Plot the middle point first. This graph is going to be a V-shaped figure. And you're finding that little sharp point. That's the middle point. So I'll come over. Oh gosh. Oh. Right 10 up 0. Well, let me see if my Am I at 10, 0? Yeah, I think I'm at 10, 0. So I'll click there. And if you just move your mouse around, you see every type of V-shaped figure opening up or down that has that vertex, the 10, 0. It now says, click the graph to plot another point. It doesn't care which point you plot. Just plot either the first or the second. So let's see. -4. I'm going to plot that first one. The -4 up 14. Let's see. No. Okay. This is one of those. Okay. Look in the upper right-hand corner of the yellow rectangle. Am I at -4, 14? Yeah. Okay. You might notice if you had plotted right 14 up 4, right 12, 13, 14 up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, you would have still had the same graph. But you only plot the vertex and one other point. Okay. Save this one and check it. And I'll do one more graphing tool problem, and then we'll call it quits, so that you will have seen all the tools that we have. Problem number 6. Y equals x to the third plus 1. And let me just write down. Looks like there's 4 lines on this table. -1, 0, 1, 2. Well, I'm pretty sure we're not going to use the line tool or the absolute value tool on this one. Okay? Because there's an exponent, there's no absolute value. So here's problem number 6. But again, that absolute value one, that's the one that's tricky. You plot the middle point first. Okay, so let's see. Plug in a -1 in for x. -1 times -1 times -1. What's -1 times -1 times -1? Is that just going to be, I think a -1. -1 times -1 is +1. +1 times -1 is -1. Then we still have a +1. So is the first number here that I'm going to enter a 0? Now let's plug a 0 in for x. 0 times 0 times 0 is 0. Plus 1. It's just a 1. Now, are y'all caught up? Are we ready to put the 1 in for x? Plug in this 1 in for x. 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. And we still have this black plus 1 there. I should have been changing my colors. Am I going to get a 2 for this one? I'm thinking it's a 2. Many short years will be through. In a previous life, I was a motivational speaker. I'm convinced of it. Statements like 20 short years will be finished. You can tell that's a good motivational technique. Okay, plug in a 2 in for x. Don't say 6. 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4 times 2, 8. Then a plus 1. Is that going to be 9? You see how I got those numbers there? The 0, 1, 2, and 9. I've got to patch all of these numbers in. 0, 1, 2, and 9. Okay, and okay, how are we going to, or what's this graph going to look like? Well, it's not a line tool. Okay? This V-shape is absolute value. The U-shaped thing is the 3-point quadratic tool. Right here. 4-point cubic. Well, is there a cube in the problem? Yeah. Do we have 4 ordered pairs, 4 points? Yeah, so that's the tool you use. The 4-point quadratic. 4-point cubic. And this one's not tricky. You just plot the 4 points in the order that they're listed there. The first one, -1, 0. Okay, right there. -1, 0. No, it isn't. Am I -1, 0? Yes. Then over 0, up 1. Okay. Right 1, up 2. Am I right 1, up 2? Yeah. All this tool is doing is connecting the dots. At this point, it looks like a line, but we know it's not a line. And then, what's that 4th point? Right 2, up 9. It's going to be sort of a squiggly little curve. Am I at 2, 9? Yes. And then I connect the dots and check it. Any question? The only thing, one of these tools that's tricky is which one? Absolute value one, okay? The absolute value, you plot the second point first, okay? That point in the middle. So, we're almost done with this assignment. We'll pick up, why am I saying we're almost done? Let's see. So, eventually, yeah, I remember this, starting with number 11, it's stuff, review of old types of homework problems. Like, where are these fractions undefined? What would you have here? A 2 and a -4? Yeah. Now we know that they're denominator cut points. Okay. There. But so I'll finish up the rest of this stuff. 7, 8, 9, 10. The first hour of class on Thursday. And we'll get out early on that class. Okay? I could get out, well, 10 minutes early is not really early to me. When it's a 3-hour class, getting out 10 minutes early doesn't seem like very, I probably shouldn't be recording that. I need to, so I'm going to stop that recording, okay?